For my story today, I'd like to share an experience I had when I was working at a local nursery in Clearwater. I was an assistant manager in the store, and with my manager, we ran the store for a couple of years together, and we had some agreements with one another as to who would work when. One of the agreements we had was that she really liked to work on Sundays because it was a shorter day, it was a quieter day, and she could get a lot of paperwork done and things like that. And I really appreciated having my Sundays off. So we made an agreement with one another that she would work 3 out of the 4 Sundays of the month, and I would work one of them. And so we had that agreement with one another. However, we had an area supervisor who was a friend of mine, and he came up with all these different policies, and one of them that he came up with was to have the managers all work 1 Sunday a month and have the other 3 off. So he made a decision that was just the opposite of what we had agreed to in our particular store. So I made an appeal to him at one of our manager meetings. I approached him and I said, told him my story that the manager really liked to work Sundays because she'd get her paperwork done, and I like to have my Sundays off, but I would work 1 a month. And I appealed to him and said, would that be okay if in our store, because this is the way we have been doing it and the way we'd like to continue, if we in our store could continue the way we were going. He was not in agreement with that. He felt that it would undermine his authority with the other stores if he made an exception with the store that we were in. As far as nonverbal communication, I believe he was dismissive in his body language of my appeal and our request that we wanted to have for our store. As far as my nonverbal communication, I probably showed a great deal of frustration and discontent, and I tried to make my appeal and it was not received. So after much deliberation personally and consideration and talk with my manager, I went ahead and submitted a formal resignation, a 2 weeks notice, and found another opportunity that awaited me to work in another business. And so I submitted my resignation to my area supervisor. It was really strange that when he received it, he was like, "Oh, come on, you don't really want to do this. Maybe we can talk about this and work something out." And so I said, "Well, sir," I said, we already talked it out and you already communicated your decision. And so, my resignation stands." So that was my experience with communication that I wanted to share for this assignment. And the nonverbal communication was definitely there. The tone of his voice when I submitted my resignation, a big old, "Oh, come on, buddy," smile on his face, and, let's talk about this, was not consistent with what he had said earlier. And so it was an interesting experience, and I felt like I did a pretty good job in handling it, and I felt like he could have been a little more understanding up front and more communicative then about what direction he was willing to go in. Thank you.